Ron Vitiello, Senior Advisor for U.S. Customs and Border Protection, back with us tonight here on The Hill. Thanks for being with us, Ron.
Great to be with you.
Always nice to have you. So, starting with where Joe Kay was reporting on tonight, the judge in this case with the TDA flights, it seems like he's just setting up to say you guys were in the wrong. If/when that happens next week, how does that change what the administration is doing?
Well, obviously, the Justice Department, ICE, all of the elements of DHS are going to comply with whatever the court's order is. But where did this start? This started with the president declaring this group, Tren de Aragua, a terrorist organization in the United States, a foreign terrorist organization. He also a number of orders about an emergency at the border or the end of catch and release. And so these people were in custody of ICE or were found by CBP and were in custody and were removed based on the law that existed at the time.
So if I hear you when you say comply, if he rules against, does that mean we see the end of these TDA flights, these flights of suspected TDA members to El Salvador or to other nations potentially?
It's going to depend on the scope of the court, right? I'm not a lawyer, right. I'm an operator. And if you give the operator a tool to remove dangerous elements from our communities, we're going to take that advantage.
So I'm obviously operating under the if here, and as an operator, if it does move in that direction, how does that impact your operations?
Well, it just depends on how this order is scoped. If we're not using the Alien Enemies Act, there are other ways to remove people from the United States based on the president's declaration, based on current law.
These are suspected criminals, in many cases had committed crimes in their home countries. Some of these cartels and these gangs are labeled as foreign terrorist organizations. But when the public has been asked about deportations to El Salvador without due process, 61%, basically 6 in 10, oppose. Why do you think you are losing if not the messaging battle, why do you think that is now the opinion of the American people?
Well, I'm not sure how broad that opinion is shared, right? This is what the president ran on. He talked about securing the border. He talked about making America safe again and making our community safe. This gang, Tren de Aragua, didn't exist in the United States before 2023. And so this is a big problem in a lot of places around the country. And so going after the worst of the worst and ICE being out there, taking these folks into custody, we have to do something with them. Deporting them to El Salvador seems like a pretty good idea.
It kind of stunned me when Allie Bradley talked about this massive $2.2 million house. When you saw that, you heard that, what was your...
I was also very surprised, but you know, this is what criminal organizations do. They take advantage of maybe a sleepy neighborhood, of Airbnb, whatever it might be. But those criminal elements are amongst us. And they are declared a foreign terrorist organization, and the men and women of ICE, we're grateful for the local partners in Texas that are also helping.
The average daily encounters at the southern border is unquestionably one of the success stories of the Trump administration here in the first, whatever it is, 70 days. You're down to something like 250 encounters a day. You can see the chart there, the numbers around there. You're never going to get to zero, right? That's the reality. But you're extremely low. It's a 95% drop. So how much lower do you think you can actually go?
Well, the goal is to have complete situational awareness on the border, right? Okay. This has never been resourced before.
Situational awareness or operational control?
Both. So situational awareness gets you to 100% operational control, and so that's a zero sum. But if you light up the border, you eliminate the pathways, you have the right kind of tech, the right kind of agents, and the right infrastructure at the border, give those agents the advantage, the tools that they have to encounter people in real time, and then send them back. And when they apprehend it, no gotaways. So 100% operational control means nobody gets away. 100% situational awareness means we know exactly what's happening on our border.
Let me leave you with this. We had Don Buckingham, who's the Texas Land Commissioner, on the show earlier this week. There's a couple islands, I guess for lack of a better term, kind of, in the Rio Grande in which she, as the land commissioner, is basically saying the cartels are in control. Here's what she told me. I want to get your reaction on the other side.
We just wanted to let them know, hey, we've got these islands declared. They are, in fact, the United States. It is time to get these cartels off of them and get complete operational control of our border.
Explain to me here, if this is U.S. land or Texas land, clearly not land from Mexico, how the cartels have a hold of it or had a hold of it.
Well, it's kind of like a no-go zone, right? It's a place where we have our boots on the ground on our side of the border. Sometimes people will evade apprehension by sitting on the island. Without the right kind of cooperation with Mexico or the state of Texas, it's difficult for our agents to access that area. But with our partners in the region, the 10,000 National Guard troops that are there from Mexico, our own military heroes on the border alongside Border Patrol agents. With the cooperation of the state of Texas, we can go and take that land back. In fact, Texas has eradicated some of the hidey holes, the carrizo cane, the vegetation that people hide in. And so it's an operational challenge, but not one that's insurmountable when you have the kind of help we're having and we're seeing every day.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.